Speaker. Mr. Speaker, while moving this motion, I'm cognizant of the fact that an impeachment process is a process that will determine the future of an individual. Mr. Speaker, I've sat here through various impeachment processes, some of them which have been carried out through plenary, some of them which are carried out through committees. And the reason why I strongly feel that moving this House to consider adopting a committee to investigate the allegation is because, Mr. Speaker, listening to you read
should not be referred at any given point. And Mr. Speaker, can you rule the mover of the motion, Senate Minority Whip, to be totally out of order by trying to engage on the form, substance, and the process, even invoking that control of budget will be invited, the documentation. I thought, Mr. Speaker, you guided Solomonically through the wisdom of Solomon by saying that it is only the procedure and the process. Could it be called out of order, Mr. Speaker, sir? Thank you.
Honorable Minority Whip, just confine your moving speech as you move this motion to the merits of having a special committee as opposed to the plenary. Just convince your colleagues
thank you, Mr.
why Speaker. You feel a special committee
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr.
is
Speaker,
more effective compared to
Mr. Speaker, the Hansard will bear me witness. I will not stand here and assume to know the merits and demerits of the charges of the impeachment. Mr. Speaker, what I referred to is solely what you read as the charges. And the only way that I'm trying to persuade my colleagues is to be able to think critically about the position that they'll be given in this House to analyze the evidence which shall be induced in this House by the Assembly as well as by the county governor who is now being accused here. Mr. Speaker, I have demonstrated clearly, and this is why I want to plead with my brother, particularly Senator from Nandi, because we have sat in these chambers together. We have looked at documents and documents. We have played some videos here. Sometimes they don't play very well. When we were impeaching other governors, if you compare apples to apples, Mr. Speaker, you will find that the only time you can be able to give justice to an impeachment process is when distinguished men and women, 9 of them, 11 of them, who have been proposed, who we are proposing today, sit down, go through the evidence so that, even though this is a political process, Mr. Speaker, you clearly indicated, and this is as per Article 125 of the Constitution of Kenya, that whenever we sit, we have the same powers as the High Court. So, Mr. Speaker, I want to persuade this House, both sides of the divide, to consider giving these 11 distinguished senators an opportunity to go through the evidence. Mr. Speaker, I note clearly. Now, what is the point of order?
Proceed and conclude, Senator. Proceed.
Mr. Speaker, I note clearly that the majority side proposed the members who sat on the previous committee. There is logic there, Mr. Speaker, because they got an opportunity to go through the evidence which were adduced by the Assembly when they were impeaching the governor. Mr. Speaker, I see wisdom there. I know, Mr. Speaker, that during the impeachment of Governor Wambora, the Senate of the Republic of Kenya had a committee of 11. And when the governor was brought back here...
Order, honorable senators. Let us make progress. Proceed, Senator Ledama. Proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. When, Mr. Speaker, please protect me from...
Senator, you're fully protected. Can you proceed, please?
Mr. Speaker, I would wish that my brother would be able to go and take the Hansard of this House, because what I'm saying is factual. When Senator Boni Halwale, and I'm very happy to see him being proposed here to sit in this committee, And trust me, Mr. Speaker, this House will decide. And the beauty of this process going through our committee is because the Senate will be given a second chance, to be able to have a bite on the cherry, Mr. Speaker. Because the moment it goes to the committee, it will also be
Honorable Senators, order.
You
will make those points when you're debating.
I'm solely moving.
Proceed.
And I want to convince you.
Reserve your comments to the contribution.
Mr. Speaker, the beauty of me moving is that you have the liberty of saying yes or no. You can actually be able to say, I do not support the committee way,
proceed,
which will
Senator.
be the proper. So, Mr. Speaker, for me to be able to make out my case, I want to persuade senators. You represent 47 counties. You serve in committees. When you sit in these committees, most of the time you go through volumes of documents to be able to interrogate governors. If you do not take the time to be able to look at the evidence properly, you will be doing this House a disservice. Mr. Speaker, I sat on this same chair when we were removing Governor Mike Mbovi Sonko. And on that particular day, Mr. Speaker, the senators did not even have a chance to interrogate the governor who was being removed. The two lawyers made their cases there, and then after that, we went on camera. After going on camera, we came back in and we voted. I want to beseech these members, honorable members who are here. Well, I'm not discussing on the merits or demerits of the case. All I'm saying is that I'd like to persuade you to consider giving these 11, Mr. Speaker, can you please protect me from the back and forth shouts?
Senator
Cherargei.
You only speak through the chair, so don't engage your colleague directly.
Mr. Speaker, I think we're all grown up.
Just proceed, Senator Ledama.
So, Mr. Speaker, I want to plead with you that ultimately the 47 delegations will make their choice. They will decide whether to impeach, to confirm the impeachment of the governor, or whether to give the governor another second chance to continue. The only thing that I want to persuade you today is that for the history of this nation, and also for the importance of this House, whenever you point a finger, remember that there is a finger which is pointing right back at you. And the impeachment process is a very painful process to go through. And it is important for us to know the consequences and also the unintended consequences. I don't really care how anyone votes. I think all of us will vote based on their own conscience. What I care is on the process of coming up to that vote. And this is why I want to persuade you that a committee will be able to give you and yourself and myself an opportunity to read a report that 11 distinguished members of